Nature Knows is a Canadian company which is helping us eat well on the go, but in a sustainable manner. We have Andrea with us, who's the founder of Nature Knows. Thanks for joining in, Andrea.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
So, just to start off, can you tell us a bit more about what exactly are you building at Nature Knows?
Sure. Yeah, we are a sustainable company in terms of our commitment to nourishing lives, and that's doing it safely and sustainably. So we're really all about making it, I say, as easy as drinking a cup of coffee. It should be that easy to eat healthy
Right.
and fresh fruit, vegetables anywhere we
Yeah.
go. In terms of the snacks, so everything we do is ready to eat and 100% compostable and biodegradable. So getting rid of the plastics or minimizing it as best we can. And one of the things we found with fruit and vegetables, one of the things I was most excited about when I came across this opportunity was really about how do we help our fruits and vegetables stay fresh, but let's make it more convenient too, because obviously there's a reason why we're not eating more. We've all known we need to eat more, right? Our grandmas have told us, Mother Nature has told us, and our food guide for how many years. But we really need to make it more convenient. Let's face it, we're busy, but also in terms of the freshness, it goes bad fast. So our products are actually ready to eat. So I have one here as an example. So our little snack boxes, the window here that we created is a breathable, natural corn-based film. And then the box itself allows it, like the footprint, to just be able to eat on the go. We purposely designed this to fit right in your cup holder of your car, or the side of your backpack, or your purse, or your gym bag. So it should be that easy. And then we evolved in terms of that base film to a little snack pouch, because we knew in terms of price point, but also size-wise for the kids' lunches, as a side to a meal for a takeout restaurant or a catering, or an ingredient within a meal kit. So this whole little pouch will allow it to stay fresh. So that's our secret breathable window. So we clean it all naturally, but everything, again, hear that crinkle? We say, let's get excited about a bit of the noise. Let's get noisy, love the crinkle. So that's a little bit of our fun tagline, to be compostable and minimize the plastics.
Okay. So if I understand correctly, you just provide the packaging as well. Like if someone is just interested in purchasing the packaging, so that's an option as well.
Great question. Yeah, so that's actually evolved. Our goal was really just to provide a ready-to-eat line to be convenient, both at the food service, on the go, and now, of course, e-commerce, which is making it more accessible for everybody at home as they're busier. And adjusting to the new times. But the packaging side evolved, and we actually are able, because we customize it, is proprietary to us, and we're really excited and proud that that is part of our Canadian heritage. It's actually being made right here. There's a lot of variety of packaging all over the world, and there's some great strides being done on eco. But the fact that we're Canadian, and now more than ever, of course, too, for the supply chain side, that we can be local. And we have offered and been able to do some other like snacks that are in more of the fresh and the ready to eat line, that we can offer custom packaging.
Okay. And what prompted you to embark on this journey? Like, have you had a background in any sustainable business before starting this?
Yeah, I actually come from CPG, so I worked for big corporate for 18 years prior to starting this company. But yeah, the big leap of faith of, jumping in, I was, mom, my daughter was starting school. I'd heard from all my friends, but also just seeing the trends in consumer behavior and, healthier and leaner and low sugar and gluten-free and nut-free and all these things. So the company, changes in terms of packaging, but also in terms of just cleaner lines and seeing the evolution of big brands sort of minimizing and the smaller, more natural companies coming up. So when I saw this opportunity to be able to offer it, and I've always kind of had an entrepreneurial side. I've always been doing other projects and helping out with the industry, sitting on different boards. So it was really just that leap of faith to say, hey, this meant something, and I know we can make a big impact. The packaging side for sure needed to be addressed, and we still have a big journey to go. I never thought I'd ever talk more about packaging and garbage ever in my life, but I'm really more of a foodie, and of course that just comes naturally with it, because it's such a commitment we need to make to be able to make that impact on ready to eat and packaged goods. Because when you walk in, we can all see the evolution of the grocery stores and the ready and the takeout and how much packaging is there, and obviously now more than ever, we have to be more cautious of the sanitation and the safety side. That's one of the areas that we feel good about is that, yes, we can still provide convenience. Let's face it, we're not going to get rid of convenience. That is how our world has changed, and we're all busier. But we also need to eat healthy. And we know, number one, plant-based foods, back to basics, back to Mother Nature, what we provide, but we can do it sustainably, and there are solutions. So for me to jump in and help start this company was, really meaningful to me, and to see that I can make a difference for our generations to come and make it easier and fun, and get my foodie creation side out there too, and providing fresh food solutions.
Okay. That's a great story.
Thank you.
And so moving on, like your focus, you have an immense focus on sustainability. So through your supply chain, like, right from sourcing to distribution, could you walk us through some of the steps that you take to, be more sustainable in each of those stages?
Absolutely. Well, number one for sure is everything we do is 100% eco-friendly in terms of the formats and the packaging. We're actually exciting. I can give you a little bit of a snippet of some new news where we'll be launching some meal kits and some snack kits combined with our packaging. And so that will be a compostable base as well. And I know that's been an issue with a lot of the meal delivery type companies, is there's a lot of plastic and a lot of components. So that's number one, is we want to make a difference there, but we have to find those solutions to reach to home. But at the same time, every step away, to your point on supply chain, is important to us. We work with local companies. I'm a part of a lot of local industry associations and other women in business networks to support each other, because now for sure we have to stick together and help lift each other up. And that's important at every step of the way. So our co-packer that we chose is 100 years of an expertise in produce. So they actually own their own apple orchard. So we can say majority of the year, based on our lovely growing season in Canada, we do have a good variety. Of course, not all year round, but if it's not Canadian, then, we try as much as we can and work with them on the obviously quality and freshness is number one as well. But we do want to support, and right on our packaging, it will say that we support both Canadian and import where needed for seasonality. So that's also from the fresh produce itself. And then being in a sustainable production facility, so they have the highest standards, and of course, everyone's watching their green practices. And so our suppliers as well, like I said, we're working with and having it custom made, and we chose that route. And yes, it can be a little bit more painful and time-wise, but reality is, versus bringing things in from overseas that could take, a container full or larger volumes required. As a startup, we can manage with some smaller increments, but also we surround ourselves with a lot of partners. So when I talk about the meal kits, it's another area. It's not just on what we do, but who we surround ourselves with. And so choosing other women-owned and other local brands, because we have fantastic array of innovation right here in our backyard, literally in Canada. So why wouldn't we want to support each other? So I think that's a really big step that companies can do that sometimes maybe they overlook. Is, of course, there's lots of opportunity to market and grow your products, but choosing the right partners, whether it be investment, the brands, the packaging, and of course your supply chain, and having that relationship along the way really helps.
Yeah. So I guess, like, you have worked in CPG industry for so long, but there would be certain things when you had started Nature Knows that you would be experiencing for the first time, like certain challenges?
In terms of startup, well, especially today, I mean, finding the right resources and being prepared for that, having a good foundation, I'd say, in terms of surrounding yourself with the right people early on, asking all those questions about what you would do in best practices. I feel that's what's helped us a lot, but sure, there's always going to be those growing pains. I think the biggest maybe naivety of a lot of smaller businesses or startups, sadly, with women in business, 95% of funding is still going to men. So there's a huge discrepancy, inequality. I mean, there's already just, proportionate amount day to day in corporate world of wage parity. But when you go to look for funding and support, most of us have been bootstrapping through friends and family, having to invest in yourself. If you're not able, and I'd say this across the board for a lot of startups, especially on the food side, because it's just a bit of a tougher category, you really need to have a solid 3 years of base in the bank or cash flow or access to fueling your day-to-day operations. And if you don't, And don't expect to pay yourself right away
Mm-hmm.
either. Like, you really
Right.
need to invest in the business and grow. So if you don't have those resources or capabilities, it is a very difficult journey. And,
Mm-hmm.
there's no sort of bed of roses there to say there's going to be some little surprise that's going to just make it easier. It's really not. It's putting in that hard work and that grit and the time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a really solid business plan, you understand your market, some of the basics of business and marketing. So if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have those, skill sets, surround yourself
Right.
with those that do. And as a lot of people, a good saying is, you definitely excel at the strengths you have, but hire for your weaknesses.
Yeah.
So find or
Mm-hmm.
outsource those areas.
Yeah. And
Help you.
using that, have you started building your team, or have you already built a small team at Nature?
Yeah, so we have been fortunate. Same thing. We're very lean, and in food production, there's so many great facilities in manufacturing here in Canada and Ontario
Mm-hmm.
that you can tap into. So for food production, especially on the fresh produce, that wasn't an area I was an expert at by any means. I had partners that I had worked with over the years when I worked for big CPG, but to learn that side of the business, so to find a co-packer that was an expert on the
Mm-hmm.
fresh side was really important to me. I understood, of course, product development and innovation and marketing and sales and distribution, but still that particular category, you really need to make sure you do have the right resources and relationships to help you. And then same thing with launching into the sustainable packaging side. I'm
Mm-hmm.
fortunate to meet a couple of great advisors that know all of the printing and ins and outs, and to find the right production facilities to help us. That's
Mm-hmm.
always a smaller challenge or a bigger challenge with the smaller runs in the beginning, unless
Mm-hmm.
you have the big, retail launch right up out of the gate, or
Right.
to build your efficiencies. I think that's one of the biggest things with same thing. A lot of, early stage and startups is you're not going to have necessarily those big volume clients right away. And
Mm-hmm.
depending on your business, being fresh and made to order, we don't keep inventory. It's a
Right.
just in and just out. So that
Right.
adds a whole other level. And I know some
Yeah.
friends can relate that might be in the fresh or the frozen business, very different than a shelf stable product. You
Yeah.
have to be so precise with your supply chain. So some of those nuances I would definitely recommend. Know your market, know your product, but surround yourself with the right partners and the right relationships to help you
Mm-hmm.
with those areas.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's still a learning curve. So
Yeah. Yeah.
adaptability and resilience and tenacity. And if, anything I can suggest is what I've been given as some great advice, attending different meetings. And as we're working on growing our scale as well, is that when you have something that you believe in and people get to know you, it really is
Yeah.
about building the brand and what you stand for. And
Right.
people will kind of feel that. And I feel that's one of our biggest advantages. People know that means something to me, and I can bring that forward, and we have the background to support it. But it's
Mm-hmm.
also the need, right? When you know the
Yeah.
market and you have that area that you can help, it's exciting that it will, what they say, you build it and they will come, right? So it's the
Yeah.
journey along the way, but it's
Right.
also not giving up, having that persistence, but
Uh-huh.
also always reevaluating your priorities along the way. You can have your longer term vision and goals, but
Right.
right now, again, more than ever, I keep saying that, but it really is being adaptable. It's one of the
Right.
biggest assets you can have as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur.
Yeah. That's a great point. Like, with things changing so fast and everything is so dynamic, like, I think if you don't revisit your strategy or what exactly are you doing, like, in every few months,
Absolutely.
then
We used to say you
there's a
have a
problem.
plan A, B, C. Now it's basically half the
Yeah.
alphabet now,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So I can see, like, this has been a great journey till date, but going on, like, in the future, as we were talking, where do you see yourself in, the next 12 to 18 months?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Our goal has been, as we've been really doing the legwork over the last few years to build our brand and our connection with our value, is really to be accessible for everyone. People have
Mm-hmm.
their preference of where they shop.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually put it out to our admirers and our supporters and our partners of where do you want to see us? Which
Right.
stores and which listings would you like to shop at and have us available? And let's work together to drive that home, because retailers today, they're so inundated. They're just trying to manage, again, this new world. And the
Yeah.
same thing with the food service and the restaurant that's been hit the hardest in hospitality. That has been the core of our business.
Mm-hmm.
So we would love nothing more than it to be available at every drive-through where you go for your cup of coffee. Why not? It should be
Yeah.
available to have a nice snack to
Yeah.
complement that. And every retailer. So our goal is to be available nationally and accessible in your favorite grocery or food service grab and go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great to know. That's great to know. And lastly, Andrea, so at Epic, we are also, trying to connect you with people out there who can help you on this journey. So are you facing some challenges where you would, love to get some external help?
Oh, yeah. Well, in terms of growing and scaling, I mean, I think that's always the area in terms of startups. And from a leadership point of view, we are looking at expanding and finding the right distribution partners. So one of the areas that I think is helpful is, there's other meal delivery services or other retailers that want to try, as a starting point. A lot of people do have online. So if they don't necessarily have the time or the capabilities to even add in-store space,
Right.
why not add it to the online side where it's basically in and out and it's through e-commerce, and because it's made to order, and I challenge and give the opportunity out there to both the wholesale distribution side as well as the retail facing. We would love to grow with you and help you bring and serve sustainable practice, but have that accessibility as well, that you don't necessarily have to worry about managing inventory, because we know and recognize that that's can be a challenge. And then in terms of growth and finding the right partner, we are looking at scaling as well. So finding the right investment. And I know there's some grant money and things like that, but it is a little tougher. So that back to that parity gap of finding the investment for women in business. So I put that out there as well. Like anyone that really wants to invest in a food company, in terms of a social cause and making an impact, we welcome the opportunity to chat.
Perfect. No, we'll put that out there for sure, and let's hope that we can connect you with the right people.
Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, Andrea. This is such a beautiful story. Thanks a lot for sharing it.
My
And
pleasure.
also,
Thank you for having us. It's nice to be able to, connect together. And I see all the great work that you guys are doing and sharing stories of people making an impact. And, just to be considered, I really appreciate the opportunity.